Oh, so fabulous.
So you guys, I came across this very interesting video on TikTok. Let's watch it together.
African Americans really do not embrace their culture, and it's very, very worrying. How can I ask you where you're from and you tell me the state? You don't even know what ethnicity you are. You don't even know what country you originally come from. That is mad to me.
Whew, I'm not even African American, but that video hit a nerve. It hit a nerve. It hit a nerve. And that particular guy on TikTok actually annoys a lot of people. I think he does it on purpose though. He's always mispronouncing words and saying some things that sound very ignorant or offensive, generally about black people, Africans, Nigerians, African Americans, and that's just one of them. And a lot of people had a lot to say about that video. I'm going to play some of the duets so that, you know, you guys can hear what people had to say, and then I'll come back and we're going to discuss it.
It's like, yeah, it's a problem that African Americans as a whole are not educated or even given the information. Most families probably don't even have access to records that state what countries they were from prior to being brought in America. But why, when bringing up this issue, do you immediately turn it back on African Americans, like as if it's our fault? How is it our fault that our education system doesn't even properly educate children? It doesn't properly educate us. We literally educate ourselves after finishing school, even going to high school, going to middle school. Most of the valuable information you learn about racism and about the history that has occurred to African Americans in this country, we learn it outside of school. So what the fuck is your point? As an African American, I want to be able to claim my roots that were robbed of my family line. I do. Yet I still know that there's going to be some people who are from these countries who are not going to agree with that. Some people are going to be like, yeah, I encourage that because you guys are still family and whatnot. And that's amazing. But some people from these countries don't even want us claiming that. Like, some people from these other countries hate African Americans so much that they would not want us claiming those roots.
Honestly, from what she said, she's talking about how the history of Africans that were taken away from Africa during the transatlantic slave trade was erased during the process of the slave trade. And I agree with that because I educated myself. As an African, we're not taught this history. We are really not. You have to actually make an extra effort to go and learn these things. So I know that a lot of these people had no way of knowing where they come from. I think the only way they are doing this now is by doing the whole ancestry genetic thing where you have to like, and I learned it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. You have to buy the strip, you know, lick. You have to lick it so they can get your saliva, and then they use your saliva to trace your ethnicity down. And the thing is, because there were so many tribes, you know, different African people from different countries, different tribes, and over the centuries, because it's been centuries, these people have reproduced, you know, tribes have mixed and all that. No African American can be traced to one particular tribe or one particular country. So you see, like, each African American is a mixture of so many different tribes. You can see like one African American having heritage from 6 different tribes, 7 different tribes, 10 different tribes. So what particular culture are they supposed to know? I feel like it's ignorant for him to have said that. Let's watch some more videos, guys.
African Americans really do not embrace their culture.
Not in who chose to speak English telling people who was forced to speak English that they lack culture. Baby boy, if we lack culture, y'all wouldn't be trying to come over here and imitate it or imitating it in y'all other countries. We are a global phenomenon, my guy. And that's not to say that African Americans have never said anything ignorant, but y'all sound super jealous when y'all say this shit. I don't know where you came from, but I'm from America, where we created soul food, where hip hop, jazz, R&B. It's so many black inventors and so many black activists. Our culture is so distinct that black people in each state do not have the same culture. You will see a distinction between Louisiana black people and Chicago black people and New York black people and Atlanta black people and etc. And it feels like this is only an online issue because Africans in real life be cool as hell. You just a hater.
Okay, from her comment and from when she said my guy, I knew that girl has been mixing with a lot of Nigerians. She obviously has a lot of African friends. She even said it that black people are cool. We don't all think the way this guy does. Please, we don't. She talked about how black people went ahead to make a culture of their own because they were stripped of their culture over the centuries. So they had to create their own culture. Yeah, it's a given that for Africans that have not left Africa, have not gone to these places where you have black people in diaspora and all of that, we don't really know what people's culture is, except maybe you've mixed with them or you've made an effort to really research and have an idea. I didn't even know that there was a distinction between the culture of black people in different parts of America. I didn't know that. I think there's just been a way, like in the media, where what we over here in Africa see as black culture is not really the nice part. We see the whole gangster thing, we see the whole ratchet thing, what you guys call ghetto, you know, the long nails, the lip smacking, talking back, bad attitude, nastiness and all of that, the whole twerking, semi-nudity and all of that. That's what a lot of us have been programmed to think of when we think of black Americans and the way they behave. Culture is basically behavior, food, the way people talk and all of that. And just as she said, a lot of people all around the world copy black American culture. I give it to you guys. You guys created something that a lot of people are imitating, that is so distinct, that a lot of people are emulating. I mean, the guy has a durag on his head. The guy has a durag on his head. Let's watch some other reactions.
African Americans really do not embrace their culture, and it is very, very worrying. How can I
Do you not realize how tone deaf that is? You don't even know what country you originated from. You don't even know your ethnicity. Maybe it's because they sold us, stole us, bred us like dogs, ate us. And maybe it also has something to do with the fact that they didn't want us to know where we came from. Maybe it was that. Maybe over the years, 400 years of slavery, people forgot where they came from. I don't know. That's such a crazy concept. Like, you right, big dog. Let me get the first people that were here 400 damn years ago off the boat. Let me get their number and ask them where I came from.
African Americans really do not embrace their culture, and it is very, very worrying. How can I?
But they just told you where they from. If they from Kentucky, they're from Kentucky. Like, their ethnic group is African American, and the specific state that they can tie their family to and their family lineage to is Kentucky. Like, what are you not understanding? You want them to claim a random West African country that they hope that their ancestors came from? Why? What direct lineage do they have to it to be claiming it? They're 400 plus years removed. Same with Haitian people, same with Jamaican people, Bahamian people, like 400 plus years removed, and you want them to claim it for what? What do I gain from claiming something I have no direct lineage to and I didn't grow up with? And the thing is this one is ethnic erasure, one. And two, y'all only do it with African American people. Y'all are so xenophobic and weird, because I have never been questioned as a Haitian person. But y'all only do it to African American people. Why? Because you're weird.
Ethnic erasure, that's the word. That's the word.
African Americans really do not embrace their culture, and it is very, very worrying. How can I?
When I see shit like this, all I want to say is open up a history book, because god damn. And another thing, I'm so tired of people thinking that African American is not its own culture. Y'all talking AAVE on a daily basis. We inspire y'all hair, y'all nails, y'all fashion, the music you listen to are from black Americans. We have culture. So stop discrediting black Americans' culture. Everybody. It's annoying as you don't have to be from Africa to have culture. You don't have to be from other places to not have culture. No, African Americans, we have culture. Look at the fucking wall. Look at the music you listen to. Look at the way you do the shit you do. It came from African Americans, my love. Sorry to break that to you. And I'm gonna end it with this. African Americans would know where we're from if we weren't enslaved.
African Americans really do not embrace their culture, and it is very, very worrying.
First off, we're not African Americans. We're people of the African diaspora who happen to be in America. From your accent, it sounds like you're from a people who've been colonized by the British. I would also say you probably learned about black American people from white folks. Here's the issue. It's not that we're not embracing our culture, we're not embracing yours. You see, we're not embracing our culture, but you gotta remember, a culture takes 8 to 10 years to form. Between the United States, the Caribbean, and South America, most of us have been out of the African continent for at least 500 years. While you'll find elements of cultures from Nigeria, Ghana, Angola, the Ivory Coast, and Senegal, at the root of black American traditions and culture, the information you seem to lack is that people who live in different states and regions of the United States do have different cultures. The diaspora element of my family came from Barbados, which would be markedly different from somebody who came from Alabama. which likewise is going to be different from somebody from Massachusetts.
I think I've taken a lot of the reactions, and I just want to say that I think he's saying this from the standpoint of he expects them to express or to live African culture, but they've been removed from Africa for so far long and they don't really have roots here anymore. Like, it's really difficult for them to trace their direct roots. Or it's possible now thanks to science and technology, but you don't expect them to practice a culture that they are not familiar with, their parents are not familiar with, their grandparents are not familiar with, because, you know, the slave trade was as far back as 500, 400, 300 years ago. Like, so I feel like I really like to see when Black people, African diaspora, not just African Americans, when they try to connect back to their African ancestry, African roots, African culture, African lineage. I love to see it. And as far as I'm concerned, I speak for myself and a lot of other Africans. I can't speak for everybody, but I know that a lot of us would love to see you guys do that, and we're waiting with open arms. If an African American comes home and everything, you blend right in. We cannot tell that you're not from here, except maybe when you open your mouth and then we hear the accent. That's when people begin to be like, oh, where are you from? And they take a certain interest in you. And I overheard a conversation of some elderly people, and they were talking about this whole thing, and they talked about when a Black person came and then told them he was African American, and they were like, oh, welcome back home. So I feel like a lot of people are going to have the same energy, like, oh, you're our sibling, you're our brother, you're our sister, you're African. Even if your ancestors were taken a long time ago, you are still one of us. So I like to see, you know, African diaspora try to trace their roots back. And there are a lot of communities that will accept you guys and welcome you guys very warmly. And, you know, I see a lot of African diaspora intermarrying now. A lot of them are marrying Africans because they want to feel like they belong somewhere where they will not face some certain kind of discrimination because of the color of their skin. Because over here, I mean, we're all Black. You understand? So I've even seen ceremonies on social media of African American people or African diaspora people being assimilated, a whole ceremony into the African tribe which they were able to trace their ancestry back to. Like a whole ceremony, you see like elders of that particular tribe welcoming them, you see the women giving them the tribal attire to put on. That's the African Americans or African diaspora that trace themselves back to that particular tribe. There's the African music playing, they are giving them African names. There's the whole ceremony being held in honor of those that decided to reconnect back to their tribe. So it is a thing. I would love to see it, but then it really is up to you guys. I really wish we as African diaspora, Africans generally, any part of the world could really just unite under that umbrella. But I feel like for someone to have made this comment, which is the whole purpose of this video, it is very insensitive, it is tone deaf, it just reeks of ignorance. That is not how we all view it. That is not how we all see it. And at the end of the day, it's one Africa, one love. Black people, we are united, and that's just the way I see it. So you guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.